oftentimes people write me and they talk about, relationships, or they're using somebody, whether it's a sexual relationship or a romantic one or whatever. They're in a relationship, even a friendship one, where it's not quite where they want it to be, but they're sticking around, and it's almost like a coping mechanism to block out the fear they feel of taking the next step in their life. And there's a phrase that I coined. It's called recyclable relationships. And a recyclable relationship is one in which we go to the next. How many people do you know that always have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? It's always a different one too. 3 months this one, then they're single for 4 days, and then they've got a new one. Then they're single for a week, and then they've got a new one. Or maybe it's not even a week. They're in a relationship for 2 years, then they get another one, then another one, then another one. Recyclable relationships are where we're not getting what we want out of it, because we can't get what we want out of another person or out of a thing. It's impossible. Those things are just there for us to appreciate and have fun with, but they're not what is going to fulfill you. You can't be fulfilled by anything outside of yourself. It's impossible. And fulfillment, full within yourself. And so recyclable relationship is one in which we're going to something else to find what we don't have inside, because we're scared of taking that step towards our dreams, or we're scared of quitting this job we don't want, or to take the next step in the job we love, or whatever it is. And so we go, that person looks sexy, I want to have sex with them. Boom, it doesn't fulfill us. So then what about that person? And then we go over to the next person, and then the next person. Or recyclable relationships with television channels. That movie sucks. What, do you have any other movies? And we just keep flipping through them. Or recyclable relationships with bags of potato chips. Or even recyclable relationships with exercise. You can over-exercise. If you're exercising 10 hours a day, you're probably over-exercising. We have recyclable relationships with everything. And so if we want to find a more meaningful life, I think we really have to look at our relationships with everything, including our relationships with ourselves, and examining these relationships. Are they stagnant or stimulant? That's what a relationship is. It's either stagnant or stimulant. Oftentimes, I think 90% of relationships today between two individuals, whether it's a man and man, a woman and woman, or a man and woman, I think they're pretty much stagnant relationships. I think they're pretty much recyclable relationships. If we're not being stimulated, that means that we're not progressing. If we're not progressing in ourselves, in our lives, then it's stagnant, and we can't be fulfilled in stagnation. And so a great way in order to find more fulfillment is to examine, is this relationship I'm in with someone a stagnant relationship? Is this a recyclable relationship where I'm going to be off to someone else right afterwards without any time for myself? And it's wonderful to be in relationships with people, but we need to be able to be with ourselves, to develop our passions, and to find love within ourselves first. And when we find that, we're stimulated. So when we're around people, we don't need something from them. They're not mine. I don't possess them. But they're there with me to grow together, to progress together, to be stimulated together. To be stimulated, not stimulated for 30 minutes while we're having sex, or 30 minutes from our taste buds, and then we need something else afterwards because the rest of our life doesn't have that same vibrational compatibility to that moment of an orgasm or that moment of this or that. So examining those things and finding out what is recyclable. And if it is, it doesn't mean you have to leave the person. Perhaps you just start speaking more and more to one another, authentic communication, and finding out where you can stimulate. I try not to be in anything that doesn't stimulate me. If it's not stimulating me, and that doesn't just mean my physical senses, but stimulating me spiritually and growing, stimulating my character, progressing my character. I'm not somebody who has I don't spend tons of time with, I haven't had a bunch of girlfriends over the last while, because oftentimes I don't find that the conversations stimulate my spirit. And so personally, I always try and find ways to stimulate myself, to stimulate my relationships, rather than having them just off to the next, off to the next, off to the next, off to the next. and continuing to perpetuate that cycle. And then we get back, what is wrong? What is wrong with life? What is wrong with these people? What is wrong is you. What is wrong is that you're looking for somebody else to fulfill you. And so when you can start there with fulfilling yourself, it's impossible to not have a fulfilling life, because every interaction that you engage in is going to be stimulating because you found it within yourself first. Then you know, how can I make this person smile? Well, I could walk over to the cash register and stick my finger in my nose, or whatever it is. You know how to stimulate somebody. So I invite you to look in at your relationships first as the birthplace of fulfillment.